I'm doing this live to celebrate that I have finally received the first author's copies of my books of Sensitivity and Sensibilidad, and I just wanted to celebrate with you guys. So feel free to share with me your opinions on my books, either Sensitivity or Sensibilidad, and to ask me questions, any questions you may have, and to please suggest a page or two that you'd like me to read out loud, so this can be an interactive live, and I can share with you some parts of the poems that I like the most. So yeah, feel free to ask me whatever you'd like to know. And for now, I just wanted to share that I took 3 years to write both books, from the moment I wrote the first poems and I decided that I wanted to publish, till the moment I pressed the button publish and I decided to start, sharing my gift with the world and expressing my poetry in a book form. So yeah, first I wrote Sensibilidad, los poemas de una adolescente altamente sensible, in Spanish, because that's my nationality, I'm Spanish, and it's my native language. So, gracias a todos los que habéis comprado las primeras copias de Sensibilidad, lo agradezco mucho y agradezco vuestro apoyo siempre. And then, a year after, during the winter solstice, I published Sensitivity, poems of a highly sensitive teenager. And that's the translation, because so many of you were asking for it. I began to be active here on the Bookstagrammer community, and all of you wanted to read my poems in English, because most of you don't speak Spanish. So I worked hard to translate all of this. Oh, thank you for all of you joining me. And finally, on the winter solstice, I published Sensitivity, and it's available for you guys to read both on paperback and on Kindle version, and also on Kindle Unlimited. For all of us who have it, you don't have to pay, it's free for those of us who have the Kindle Unlimited subscription. So yeah, please suggest some pages so I can begin reading. I'd like to start reading the first poem of the first book I ever wrote, that is Sensibilidad, los poemas de una adolescente altamente sensible. So I'm begin now to write and to read the Spanish poems, and then when I stop reading the Spanish poems, I'll start with the English ones, because I'm a little nervous, as you guys can guess. So this will help me calm myself and stop being overstimulated by it. So here's it. Sensibilidad. Sensibilidad. Una realidad. La sensibilidad no debe ser una maldición, cuando realmente es una gran condición. La sensibilidad es un viaje, algo en lo que a veces necesitamos tutelaje. Muchas veces buscamos respuestas en el mundo corriente, un mundo que, por lo general, no comprende lo que una persona sensible siente. Simplemente es la vida vista de forma diferente, desde otros ojos, sintiendo profundamente. No hay nada raro en nosotros, somos más del 20% de aquellas personas que tienen una mente. Las luces, el ruido y la algarabía se nos presentan como una molesta sinfonía. Percibimos cosas que los otros no pueden ver. Y yo me pregunto, ¿por qué no nos intentan entender? Las emociones para nosotros son como un mar, en el que podemos hundirnos o bien navegar. Las multitudes solemos evitar y en el silencio nos deseamos refugiar. Este es el primer poema de mi primer libro, Sensibilidad, los poemas de una adolescente altamente sensible, que está disponible en español en todo el mundo. Muy bien. And now, given the amazing amount of expectancy there was for sensitivity, I'm start reading the first poem in English. That's the very same concept I discussed in the Spanish version, but it's translated now, so you guys have access to it whenever you read, even the free preview, the free sample of my book in Amazon. Y sí, Yoyomillo24 pregunta ¿dónde puede comprarse? En Amazon. Y sí, se compra en Amazon, está disponible en todos los países. Tienes el enlace en mi biografía. Espero que te guste. So, yeah, let's start with sensitivity. Deep breath, focus, because poetry requires focus. Sensitivity. Sensitivity, a reality. Sensitivity should not be a curse when it's really a great condition. Sensitivity is a journey, something in which sometimes we need guidance. Many times we look for answers in the ordinary world, a world that often doesn't get how it feels to be a sensitive person. It simply is life seen differently, from other eyes, feeling deeply. There is nothing weird about us. We are more than 20% of those people who have a mind. The lights, the noise, the hustle and bustle appear to us as an annoying symphony. We perceive things that others can see, And I ask myself, why don't they try to understand? That's the embarrassing moment when an author spots a mistake in one of their books. I have to correct this because there isn't an N in the don't, but let's continue. Emotions for us are like a sea in which we can either sink or sail. We tend to avoid the crowds, and in silence we like to take refuge. So that's the very first poem of Sensitivity. It's available, the book is available on Amazon worldwide, and you can read the first few poems, the first 20 pages or so, for free in the Kindle sample, and the whole book is available for free on Kindle Unlimited, if you guys have it. So let's see if there are any questions. Feel free to ask any questions you might have, so I'm not just talking alone. Just to be honest, doing a live reading is not very easy for us sensitive people, even when we are in a controlled environment, like our own homes, like in the place I am now. It's kind of overstimulating, overwhelming, because there are infinite amounts of people who can and will watch this. Not only live during the live reading, but in the days after and in the rest of my life. So I'm kind of overthinking about every word I say. I know you can relate if you hadn't been, if you aren't enough free of inhibitions to do a live reading, I understand. I haven't been for a long time. I haven't been free enough of my own fears to do this. And given we're talking about fear now, I want to read another poem. This one is called Fear itself, and it's the second to last poem in my book. It's quite long, so it will take a long while. In the meantime, please, if you're watching this, share it in your stories, tell your friends about it. Let's move the world, because sensitivity is a subject that needs more coverage in social media, a place where, outspoken behavior is rewarded best, but we tend to be 7 of every 10 sensitive people, which is 20% of the populations, are introverts. So I advocate also for the extroverts who are sensitive people, but most of us are introverts. So sharing this will be very appreciated and will be a lot of help. So yeah, please just share it and share your thoughts and your opinions, your perspective on the poems, because I'd really like to know what you guys think. And thank you again for the coverage this is getting, and for the love we have shared for this book and for the trait of high sensitivity. I appreciate every one of you. Let's start reading Fear. Fear. Watch out, that goes. I go. Fear to withdraw that I know. See eyes, I think. Fear of letting time slip away. Dark circles of change, unsettled, of chance, unsettled. Way to look, absent. Fear, my depends. Fear, my cause. Desire to live, or maybe to leave it at that, if you look closely. That's page 127. Let's get to page 128. In losing, in feeling, in living, in loving, and crying without fear. Because fear, just like that pain of what I once lived without meaning, of what I once felt without living it, is what might help me. Because that fear that helps me overwrite, that one that helps me put it all into perspective, may be serving me somehow. Maybe fear isn't always bad. It could be that fear is my ally. It could be that fear makes me let go of my ego. And although I fear thousands of experiences, thousands of people, what I do to counteract and control the terror I live with is what makes me have free will. Fear is what I need. Fear is what keeps me alive. Because, as I once said, without fear, we are not human. And Blogger 6 sensitivity is based on it. That's a reference to my alter ego that I tended to use in my teenage years. And Blogger 6 sensitivity is based on it. On that fear is another form of suffering, another thing I repel, another thing I avoid at all costs when I can. But I can't always do so. And what do I do then? Be afraid of fear? Yes, I do. I admit I get paralyzed. But as Priscilla Gibbard today has taken upon herself to remind me, I once made a poem saying, sensitivity, pain reminds us that we are alive. And now I would add, fear is a reminder that there is another way. There is always another way. That's why we have survived. All has always been about the balance between love, desire, and fear. That's it. Let me know what you think. It is one of the most emotional poems I've ever written, and it had to be here by itself because it moves me every time I read it, every time I revise it, every time I share about it with someone, every time someone tells me they've read it, it moves me. Sorry, my English is cracked because I'm not used to talk for so long. Sorry, I'm not native, as you can see. So yeah, I just read my poem Fear, the second to last poem in my second book, Sensitivity, Poems of a Highly Sensitive Teenager. And yes, I want to talk a little about you, a little to you guys about the cover. The cover was designed by Priscilla Gibbard, an Argentinian artist and also my best friend. Hola, Pris. So, yeah, it represents a yew tree, that's a millennial tree that is near here in the village where my family was born. It represents immortality, represents longevity, and it's one of the 2 or 3 trees that could have been meant by Norse people to represent Yggdrasil, the world's tree, the tree that joined each and every one of the 9 worlds the Norse people believed in. And thank you, Clara and Caro Ritzel. Your comments may make me blush, as you can see. And thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate it. This has been quite of an alone and lonely conversation until now. So I'm glad you two are here to spice it up a little. And yeah, after talking about Yggdrasil, I want to share another poem with you guys. Everything here is interconnected. You won't find any mentions of butterflies or tulips unless you look very closely at the acknowledgements, because I didn't know what I wanted the cover of this poetry book to be when I started writing the poems. So I didn't figure it out how to write something I didn't even know I wanted. Some writers and authors here can relate to that. Okay, December 1st. That's one of the favorite poems in this book, and I think it's page 69. Let me yes, it's page 69. So thank you all to the people that said December 1st is their favorite poem. And just before I begin reading, I wanted to share with you guys that I have a group of my readers, an Instagram DM group where I share the news and people who have read or are reading or even have just ordered one of their copies of my book, whether in Kindle Unlimited, normal ebook or paperback, can send me a DM and I'll add them to the group of my readers if they want to be, because it's a fun and quiet corner to enjoy poetry and share what you all's favorite poems are. And thank you to the reader who said December 3rd was her favorite. This goes for you. December 1st, Thursday, third day of December. Today I saw Jack Frost when he came to my window. I know he wanted to greet me and say, "Winter is here." I welcome the cold with joy because it shows me that I am still alive for another year. I have also seen a fairy reflect her brightness on my screen, and now I understand that all is still underway. It is the time of Yule, of living the magic again, the time to honor the dead, aka November 1st, the Day of the Dead, that I tend to share a lot about, that is also Samhain for those of you like me who celebrate the wheel of the year and everything like that. So yeah, that's the time of honoring the dead that I mentioned here. The time to honor the dead gives time to that of celebrating events. In this month, one hears, "Hello, Martin," the tinkling of the bell. And I, too, am able to see the periwinkle flowers and the winkle color that all illuminates. Winter makes me think of what awakens when everything is asleep, of the life that grows in the harshest circumstances. December makes me think of festivals, parties, and rituals, of beginnings and endings, of purposes fulfilled, of ice and cold, and also of how, in the end, we all end up falling, always. Today I think about nature and how its intelligence gives us the protection we need. Today I think about the frost and how it protects us from freezes. Today I think of all those who shelter in a shell, waiting for the day when they can come out again. Today I think of traditions and how myths are just truths that we have forgotten. Today I am thinking about snowflakes and how the only year it snowed was when we moved here and brought the cold with us. Today I am thinking about Christmas trees and how fairies had to change their homes every time we humans decided to cut them down. Today I am thinking about Mother Earth and how she changes and renews herself. Today I am thinking about Australia and how little by little it recovers. And now I wanted to put a stop on this to greet my Australian readers and to declare that it's a reference to the Australian fires that isolated that country and that region of the world a few years ago when I was writing this poem. Thank you for all of you who bought my books and read my books from Australia. I think about you often, and I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. And Priscilla, if you are here and want to join, just send me a request and I'll add you. She is the cover artist of my book, and I want of my books, both of them. It's a little strange now to have 2 different books on the market, but I'll settle with that from now on until the third is released. So yeah, I want you guys to meet my Argentinian cover artist Priscilla Gibbert. Let's see if she is available. Until then, I continue. Today I am thinking about Australia and how little by little it recovers. Today I am thinking about the north wind, Boreas, and waiting for him to command his sons, the Boreads, to carry the cold wind all over this hemisphere. Today I am thinking of Saturnalia and all the annual births of the sun gods. Shoutouts to my fellow pagan readers, they'll appreciate it. Apollo, Helios, Mithra of Persia, and all the rest. I'm thinking of Frey and that our custom of decorating a Christmas tree comes from Yggdrasil. I think of Panquetzalitzi, sorry for my Mexican and Latin American friends if I didn't pronounce that correctly, and that during that time Huitzilopochtli was born. I also think of Inti, and that this is a month of renewal and rebirth. Today I am thinking that the change of seasons is coming sooner and sooner, that the earth needs love to keep spinning. Today I am thinking of the hundreds of memories that I have created, and all the dreams that have come true. Today I am thinking that you are still with me, and how much I wish that they were here too. Today I think about what Christmas means to me. I'm thinking about the days left until the winter solstice. I'm thinking of giving thanks for everything I live, and I think about toasting to all the new friends. I'm thinking about this a lot, that I really want to celebrate. I want to celebrate life, friendship, food, music, and family. Winter is here to remind us of the importance of change, and that everything rises and springs again. Yule, Christmas, call it what you will. Just realize that one year ends and another begins. Happy winter, happy Advent, happy new beginning. Hi, I'm reading again. Good to see you. Hope you liked it. So yeah, happy Advent, happy New Year, happy new beginning, happy 2024. You all deserve to have a wonderful, wonderful year. And thus, I want to share another one of my poems to you guys. This time a shorter one. Let's see. Oh yeah, no, verses is better for later. So yeah, we've been at this for half hour, so it would be a little time for a moment of solitude to reflect on the poems that I've shared. And thus, I want to give us a little break to all of us by reading one of my favorite poems of the whole book that wasn't so pretty in the Spanish version, but I'm very satisfied to see how it turned out. It's called Silence. The breath change. Okay. Silence. Many times silence is the best comrade when what you want to say is not really what you mean. Let us have a minute, or maybe half a minute, of silence to reflect on the power that it has in our life. Hola, Evelyn. Okay, guys, that's it. Estoy muy bien, gracias. Y sí, voy a empezar a hablar más en español para también mis lectores, que han estado ahí desde el minuto 1 con la publicación de Sensibilidad, los poemas de una adolescente altamente sensible. I wasn't planning to do this. I wasn't planning to just take a minute and then change languages, but the universe speaks and I have to heed its advice. So yeah, I gotta talk a little in Spanish now. I hope you guys can understand. Así pues, para los que estáis conectados en el directo desde España, desde Latinoamérica o desde todas las otras partes del mundo en las que hay alguien que hable español, si queréis podéis dejarme una página, vuestra página favorita, vuestro número preferido. Hello all, I'm glad to see you joining. Así que sí, dejadme una página, un número, para que pueda ir leyendo el poema que corresponda. De momento voy a empezar por uno en el medio del libro, en la página 66, que por suerte son solo 2 números, no 3, que se titula Haiku alentador. Motivadora, esperanza de amor. ¿Puedo sentirla? Este es el poema Haiku alentador. Los haikus, para los que no lo sepáis, son poemas de 17 sílabas que están organizados en 3 versos de 5, 7 y 5 sílabas. Y normalmente suelen tratar de la naturaleza, del ser humano en su interior, de cosas que no son tan banales, sino que son como pequeñas fotografías de cámara de fotos, de esas de las que muchos de nosotros ni siquiera hemos oído hablar, que capturan un momento y lo dejan ahí para la posteridad. Son 17 sílabas, son fáciles de escribir. Yo he escrito un montón porque me encanta, sobre todo cuando pasa algo muy importante en muy poco tiempo y tengo que plasmarlo. Entonces eso, me encanta escribir haikus, y este que acabo de escribir se titula Haiku alentador. En mi libro, Sensibilidad, los poemas de una adolescente altamente sensible. Podéis encontrar bastantes haikus o más porque, como ya he dicho, es una de las formas de poesía que más me encantan. Hace tiempo, cuando empecé a escribir estos poemas, no tenía ni idea de métrica y apenas sabía la rima, con lo cual escribía verso libre a todas horas. Y los haikus eran de aquellas pocas composiciones en las que sí me limité a escribir con una composición concreta. Y bueno, debo decir que no fue muy limitante. Fue de hecho bastante... Me alegraba mucho escribir haikus, fue bastante alegre y me gusta mucho. Y ahora, para cambiar un poco todo este sentimiento cursi y sensiblero, quiero expresar otra parte de mi sensibilidad que no es muy conocida, que no le gusta a mucha gente, pero que también está aquí, para que entendamos todos que las personas altamente sensibles no somos perfectos. También tenemos nuestra parte poco empática, también tenemos nuestra parte a la que no le importa nada, también tenemos otros rasgos de personalidad que no son simplemente las mejores personas del mundo simplemente por sentir más. Somos como cualquier otro, solo que somos un poco más intensos. Pero eso no tiene ni por qué ser bueno ni malo. Así que, con esto dicho, voy a empezar a leer Verbosidad sentida de madrugada. Me pierdo, me encuentro, me siento por dentro. Me mudo, me asiento, creo mis propios recuerdos. Deseos, mareos y noches de insomnio sin bonitos sueños. Madrugadas meditadas y mañanas de oraciones esperanzadas. Perdida, consentida y una rutina sin sentido vivida. Acción, satisfacción y al final de todo lo que amo la destrucción. Deseos rastreros, su persecución genera días de nariz taponada enteros. ¿De qué sirve desear? ¿Para qué? ¿De qué sirve querer? Si no hay amor, tal vez. Quizás, si me miraras, podrías ver a alguien que solo quiere comprender. Comprensión, comprensión. ¿Cuántas presiones por la comprensión? Tal vez, si me escucharas, podrías oír a una paz cual compartir su sentir. Tal vez, si me observaras, intuirías mi mayor conflicto de noche y de día. Ya se despiertan, ahora debo parar de mi verbosidad, por hoy expresar. Y esos son páginas 64 y 65 de mi libro Sensibilidad, los poemas de una adolescente altamente sensible, como parte del poema titulado Verbosidad sentida de madrugada. So yeah, let's change languages again, and just tell me, guys, how this life has been for now for you. If you'd rather see something else, if you'd rather me having read some poem else, tell me what poem you would like me to read in my own voice, because there's something special when the author of a book reads it aloud. So yeah, let us give each other a little break again and read just what you need. Sometimes seeing the world go on for people when it hurts you to live is horrible. But there are other times, like this morning, when it's just what you need. That's called Just What You Need, and it's page 35 of my book, Sensitivity, Poems of a Highly Sensitive Teenager. That book, and this poem in particular, was written during a hard moment in my life, when I had to take a difficult decision whether I wanted to carry on with something I was undertaking or just leave it. I decided to continue, and that has given me a lot of blessings, both in itself and in the people I'd met. Thanks to it, it's my life. Yeah, exactly how it sounds. I was in a difficult moment, and writing that helped me, because I needed to realize that the world kept moving on, whether it was with me or without me. The world keeps turning, the world keeps living, breathing, loving, whether it is without any of us or with us. And I wanted to keep breathing, keep engaging in that blessing that it's living. I wanted to be a part of life again. And that I think that poem was inspired by some of you people in Instagram, when I entered to post a pic of a quote or something I was writing at the time, the story La Visita de Héctor Rivera, inspired by the movie Coco. That's available in Spanish in my Wattpad, Blogger 6fold. And yeah, I was here to publish, and I, started scrolling around, and I figured out that there were things that make this life worth living. And if people were having fun, were enjoying themselves, there was surely something that I could enjoy too. So yeah, don't ever stop sharing your happiness, because many people will be jealous of you for doing that, especially if they are struggling. But it's just because they are struggling. Sharing happiness can help lots of people who are just beginning to struggle to put a stop to that. So don't stop sharing your happiness. It helps a lot of people. Don't ever stop being passionate about what you do, because passion moves this world. And I want to repeat that again for the people I know who will be listening to this when it's only on my page. Passion moves this world, and we gotta be passionate about what we love. Okay? Be passionate and don't hide it. Express it healthily as well, but don't hide it. It's who you are. So yeah, talking about who I am, let's read another poem that's deeply personal. And it's, this. January 31st, 2019, January 31st. I finish a chapter of my story almost at midnight. At 23:30, that is 11 p.m. and a half for the English people. At 23:30, I write this. These are some plane tickets. It was the moment when I really made up my mind. I knew I wanted not to design, but to write. It was when I put the finger on the button publish. I finished something that I didn't know how many times to revise. I spent 10 hours that day without stopping, transcribing messages that managed to move me. And yes, still move me. Many months later, I realized my mistake. No family to write. Later was a horror. On the other hand, on the emotional side, every word I wrote was vital. When I finished, I went to sleep satisfied, because that part of my purpose was fulfilled. I typed at full sleep, and even so, I think, with my characteristic quality. I want to congratulate my best friend there, because she was turning 16. Hi, Angie. And she also supports me here. And with the confidence that generates a fair self-praise, I fell asleep and I don't know what I dreamed, although I am sure I rested. It was the end of a belief and the beginning of thousands of experiences. Because, besides liking it so, then I understand that is what I can dedicate myself to. January 31st, 2020. I still have pending the end of my story. This morning began with the realization of how far this account has come in a year. Well, I was referring here to my Wattpad account that I published so many poems between January 31st, 2019 and 2020. But this now also refers to Bookstagrammer and my Instagram account, and how far this account you're liking so much has come in a year. Thank you all for your support, for your likes, for your follows. I appreciate each and every one of you. When I woke up, I had a lot of overactivation, and that's why I gave myself attention. Thanks to the silence, I easily meditated and started the day well because I calmed down. Then, true to my pagan faith, I prayed, and to those I trust, I offered food. As I had bread with tomato for breakfast, I spoke peacefully with my family. The slice of tomato I served myself had angel wings on it. I saw that it was a good omen. I trusted, because it was in my visions, and as I realized, I wanted to learn what was beautiful in the world today. And that's why I went to Instagram. Because social media, these few verses are very important, and I want you all to remember them well. Because social media filters information, and if we know how to use it, avoids overstimulation. Minutes later, I've moved back to what I was doing a year ago. And what I did next, I do not remember. Maybe because it's something I don't really feel. I simply live life, trying not to let sensitivity define me. It does, whether we like it or not. And I understood that for the worst. This afternoon, mixed emotions, caused by familiar disputes. Familiar in both meanings. In both, it implies strong feelings. Hours of reading and other activities that are no longer singular. At 6, well, this is a silent verse. At 6:30 p.m., seeking to recover the past, the quiet time was officially over. That will be another poem, dealing with a recurring theme. I summarize it in 2 verses, now that I have it fresh. Why does ever recurrent bad health complicate doing what my soul feels? Guilt came out of my eyes, and they ended up red. I know it is the other side of the scale, but there are days when it takes away my hope. I know that an artistic sensitivity may be associated with a medical illness. Also, mine with these verses rhymes, and that's a lot of me to unknown people. What I want to say, HSP, aka highly sensitive person, is that our body does not have to accompany. If we don't allow it to express its state, it will ultimately make us sick and make us cry. We can try to overcome our sensitivity, but we must always remember our body. That's it. That's poem January 31st of my book Sensitivity, Poems of a Highly Sensitive Teenager, available on Amazon, Kindle, and Kindle Unlimited worldwide. And also, I didn't mention on Barnes and Noble, for now, online, and I don't know if in person, but you can can also leave reviews there. Well, it's almost an hour, so I don't know if this will stop itself or not. If it does, it was a pleasure to have you all here, and I will be doing more of these lives in the coming months when I have something new to share. Thank you all for your attendance. I appreciate it, and I send you, all of you, a light hug from Spain. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the comments, in the posts, and in the pages of both my books. Sensibilidad, los poemas de un adolescente altamente sensible, y Sensitivity, Poems of a Highly Sensitive Teenager. Gracias a todos por estar y os mando un abrazo de luz. Nos vemos en los comentarios y después. Muchas gracias. Se os quiere. A ver.